Jeremy here, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. Listing a early CJ7 frame. Should have waited on that. I got some lunch and I'm working on the fly, so. It's a solid frame. It does have a little bit of scale, not terrible, but definitely a little bit. And you can see a little bit on the inside here in the back, but it's still super solid. Nothing's fully cracked, at least on the top. There are a couple places, and that's going to be noted in the price. So if you can use this frame or want to blast this frame, clean it up a little bit, or just use it as is, that would be, ideal for you. This is somebody put a little bit of angle iron or something on the back of that. That's not factory the way that is. Although this is very common to have wrought out, and so we can get those if you want a new piece and go from there on that guy. But not too bad of a fix. And then so real quick, I'm going to show. This is actually going to be a two-part video. One is going to be this frame, narrow track. So you're looking at 76 to 81. Or 80, depending on what you're working on. That 81 is kind of some of them are wide, some of them are narrow. But what I mean by that is right here. This is what I mean by that. So this is both are CJ7 frames, okay? But one is a narrow track. So if you're looking to see what a difference is, well, there's a couple distinguishing differences on the two. One is this rear sub frame reinforcement there. A wide track does not have that. They look actually a lot similar to a YJ, and that's partly why you can use YJ tubs on these. You can use them on either or, but they do work better on the wide track. So, but if you look at the rest of this guy, the width is almost identical, and so forth. So, versus this guy here. So, I just sat in water, so I'm a little bit. I got on the tractor and there was a puddle in it, and it penetrated before I got up, so I got a wet seat at the moment. But anyway, this fun's of junkyard business. Anyway, it's cold out too, so it's not fun to have a wet butt when you're. Anyway, all right. So front end of this frame, nice. I'll put it in the air here in a second too. But this is a really solid frame. You can see there was a lot of grime. There's still a lot on it. Hit it with the Hotsie yesterday. I got a lot of it off, but didn't get all of it. So this frame will continue to clean up even nicer. Look at the holes here. These always rust out on CJs, and those are super clean. Even the one up here it's got a little bit of surface around it, but not too bad. This is a really quality frame for an early one that's got a couple things, and again, the price will reflect those things, but I just want to show you it here. I like to show my frames as if you were standing here having a conversation with me. And so forth. So let me walk around to the back side of this guy real quick, and then I'm going to raise it in the air and show you the underside, take a couple more photos, and then we'll be done with this guy. And in case, and I don't know, this is probably too tight a timing, but in case you can catch this trip, I'll be heading back out east next week, a week from today, actually a week from yesterday. So that'll save you some on freight. And I can bring it directly to your door, which is kind of a nice thing. So, okay, so let's just start with anything I see immediately. So you start seeing there's a little bit of holes coming through there, that rear support area. So this area would definitely want to be cleaned up a little bit. And then this side here is actually pretty solid. Coming down, let's see if I can get. Sorry, the lighting's kind of weird when I'm upside down on these. Hopefully it comes out a little better on the, see if I can change my angle at all. Nope, that made it worse. So, and then you got this guy here. So now another difference on these versus a YJ, the YJs were all square tube. These are like two C channels they weld together to reinforce these. So this area here is got, you definitely need to come in here with some fish plate. They kind of did that from the factory, but this is going here. This looks okay, and then you got a good 6 to 8 inches here that you'd want to right behind that leaf spring. Otherwise, the holes are good for your belly pan, both sides, nice and solid. Same thing, nice and solid up here. And all this is nice and solid. Good front end on this guy. And I wish the clouds weren't. It's giving me that weird. So super hard to see everything. I apologize about that, but nonetheless, so you got two areas you're gonna need to have some attention on. One is this area here. Okay, and you can see it right there. Right, and that's right behind the rear spring perch. And then the other side, same side, is here. And you can see the buildup inside of this. Now I did scope this frame, and other than this side, this section of this rear, everything else checked out up to about here on this side. And the other side actually looked really good. So good quality frame, and really an ideal one to sandblast, fix, and then paint. Although you don't have to on any of these. That's just something kind of nice feature to do when you're getting on narrow track. Narrow tracks are hard to get when they're not completely blown out. So quality of frames, I think this is definitely a solid B. Not an A, but it's definitely a B. And then I get C's every once in a while, and those are almost hard to sell. Well, they're easy to sell, but hard for me to sell, because I like to really represent us with some of our cleaner stuff. This guy here is an A+, and it's a wide track. So and wide tracks are really hard to get clean. So, all right, that's it. Questions, comments, concerns, 303-666-9020. I appreciate everything, and I'll take some photos and see if I can get a little bit better lighting on those underside there, okay? Thanks a lot.